Have you heard the latest news yet? How did Rick Harrison get sentenced to life in prison? Rick Harrison, the longtime face of the hit reality show Pawn Stars, is now at the center of one of the most shocking scandals in recent television history. Once known for his sharp business sense and calm attitude, Harrison now finds himself behind bars, and not just for a short time, but for life. Rick Harrison has been sentenced to life in prison. But how did this happen? What led a famous TV personality to such a dark and final end? Let's walk through the timeline that brought Rick Harrison from the pawn shop counter to a federal courtroom and eventually to a maximum security prison cell. It didn't start with sirens or headlines. In fact, it began with whispers. Rumors about suspicious business activity at the gold and silver pawn shop had circulated for years. At first, people dismissed him. Rick was a celebrity, after all, and the show brought in huge amounts of money. But behind the cameras, investigators were starting to piece together something serious. According to reports from federal sources, red flags were raised after irregular financial records were submitted for review. Now, these weren't just small, feeble accounting mistakes. In fact, it was quite the opposite. The sources indicate some pretty shady discrepancies in money trails, unexplained cash movements with the related tax documentation missing or erased. This obviously pricked the agency's ears, and a task force was swiftly formed to dig deeper. And then came the warrant. It happened on a regular busy morning in LA. The residents around Harrison's house noticed an unusual sight as multiple federal agents moved in fast towards his mansion. Soon, Harrison's Las Vegas property was surrounded and raided by law enforcement led by the FBI. What they found shocked even the investigators. Reports later confirmed that large stashes of unregistered cash were discovered, along with controlled substances and confidential documents. These papers suggested links to undisclosed transactions with several unnamed high-profile individuals. The contents of those files remain classified, but insiders say they hinted at deeper ties to organized crime activity. For his part, Harrison didn't go quietly. When agents tried to take him into custody, he allegedly resisted and attempted to destroy some of the documents. A brief struggle broke out before he was restrained and taken away. That moment marked the beginning of a long legal process that would eventually bring his entire world crashing down. Rick Harrison's arrest made headlines across the country. Fans were in disbelief. Social media was flooded with messages of shock, support, and speculation. But things got serious quickly. Prosecutors wasted no time as they presented a long list of charges, including money laundering, obstruction of justice, possession of illegal substances, and conspiracy. The biggest charge, however, was racketeering. This one linked Harrison directly to ongoing illegal business operations that had allegedly lasted for years. The court proceedings stretched for weeks. Evidence was presented in layers: financial records, surveillance footage, witness testimonies, and even voice recordings. Some of Harrison's past business associates were brought in to testify against him. According to some anonymous sources present in the court, these associates claimed Harrison knowingly participated in illegal deals and used his pawn shop as a front to move large sums of untraceable money. At one point, a former employee broke down in tears in the stand, claiming they were pressured to keep quiet about what they saw inside the shop. Harrison's defense tried to fight back. They argued that the celebrity businessman was being targeted because of his fame and that the real criminals were still out there. But the mountain of evidence made it hard to shift the blame. At one point during the trial, a sealed video recording was introduced as a key piece of evidence. In the clip, reportedly taken from a hidden camera during a private backroom transaction, Harrison could be seen handling stacks of cash and signing off on what appeared to be an off-the-books agreement. Though the audio was muffled, the jury watched the footage in stunned silence. It was said to be the moment that shifted the tone of the entire courtroom. Additionally, another twist emerged just days before sentencing when an anonymous tip was delivered to federal investigators. The tip, which reportedly came from someone previously close to the Pawn Stars crew, alleged that Harrison had arranged for a large wire transfer overseas just days before his arrest, possibly as a backup plan in case he needed to flee. Investigators confirmed that the transfer took place, though its recipient remains unknown. On the day of sentencing, the courtroom was packed. Reporters, family members, and former Pawn Stars fans waited in silence. When the judge finally spoke, the words hit like a hammer. Rick Harrison, for your role in the charges presented and your continued involvement in operations deemed illegal under federal law, you are hereby sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The room stayed silent. Harrison showed no emotion. His legal team quietly stood down. The reality of the situation had finally settled in. Following the sentencing, Harrison was immediately transferred to a high-security prison. There, according to sources, he's been kept under strict observation due to the nature of the case and his former celebrity status. Other inmates, aware of his fame, reportedly showed mixed reactions. Some ignored him, others mocked him, and a few have allegedly tried to confront him over past business dealings they claimed were never settled. Within weeks of entering prison, Harrison was placed in protective custody. While no official statement has been released, multiple reports suggest his safety was in question due to unresolved ties to outside individuals. Meanwhile, back in Las Vegas, the gold and silver pawn shop shut its doors. A sign reading "closed indefinitely" was hung on the entrance. Corey Harrison hasn't made any public comments, and the production team behind Pawn Stars has also remained silent. The History Channel, which aired the show for over a decade, quietly removed several episodes from its streaming catalog. No official reason was given. Although Rick Harrison has been sentenced and detained by the court, there are many questions clouding this case, sowing concerns in everyone's mind. Who were the anonymous individuals with whom Rick Harrison was in frequent contact? Why were they kept confidential and hidden from the public? Are they from the high-profile circle, just like Rick Harrison? And perhaps the most important point of concern, is Harrison the mastermind or just a scapegoat? Are the reports and discoveries really true, or are they just a hoax to cover up something much more sinister? Some investigators believe the case is far from over. According to sources close to the federal task force, more arrests may be coming. The documents found at Harrison's home could implicate others, possibly from the entertainment industry, finance, or even law enforcement. If that happens, this story could grow far beyond Rick. For years, he built his brand on knowing what things were worth. He would ask customers, "How much are you looking to get out of it?" Now the tables are turned. What Rick got in the end was a life sentence and a legacy that may never recover. The pawn shop is closed, the show's gone, and the man who once made deals for rare coins and historical artifacts now waits behind bars, possibly for the rest of his life. As for the truth behind the case, it may still be unfolding, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching. If you want more updates on stories like this, hit the like button and subscribe for more no-nonsense breakdowns of breaking events.